Canada is connections at home and around the world. We're more than a map or mountain peaks and the maple leaf unfurled. We're the links that join.
Four elements make up a classroom on rails. Experiencing the land close up around us, looming ahead, rolling beneath, passing and receding behind, a moving picture we enter with all senses. A gathering of people from different spaces in an interior setting of natural wood woven fabric with fresh air and light streaming through open windows. Symbols we discover and explore, twists of phrase, gesture, feathers, flags and banners, maps and murals that represent the land on a flat surface. Music and song and movement, a mode of power that integrates the rhythm of land and rails, soothing, enlivening, and encoding the Kanata experience. The land we live on changes over the year as a result of the angle of the light and heat of the sun. When we last traveled in a rail classroom on Kanata Day, the sun was high overhead, making a difference between the glare outdoors and cooler dark within the train. This Thanksgiving trip, the green along the line is checkered with gold and yellow leaves, and we see new things on the land and the woods where leaves have fallen. The sun is lower in the sky and streams in the windows, making the wood inside the rail car glow with life and color. The clearer air with less humidity also means we have more blue-colored light, highlighting other contrasting colors. These changes that we might notice but not speak of were often captured in the songs and dances of First Nations who lived here. The 24 people, young and adult students in our Thanksgiving classroom, came from 7 families and spanned 3 generations of fellow learners and teachers. Homeschoolers, spanning 3 and even 4 generations, have been key participants in Classroom on Rails, some returning a 3rd or 4th time. They bring a memory of what we do that helps integrate newcomers and picks up features different from previous trips that catch their attention. Kanata, Kanacha, Kanatien, we are Canadian. A handshake, high five, shrug of the shoulders, thumbs up or down stand for something. Some of these symbols we put on signs, shorthand of having to say, explain, or translate in word. Others become more specific in logos, crests, shields, and banners. First Nations did not use flags, but could identify each other by dress, smell, feathers they wore, and the pictures or carvings that they made a part of the places they lived. Flags are not religious icons like stone tablets, golden plates, or divine dictation to a leader. They are markings on our evolving journey in time and space. As our land is so large, we have flags for each of our regions. Seeing each of them reminds us of different ways of looking at things in different parts of our Kanata constellation. As our views changed over time, we developed different flags at different stages of the journey. Some are flags of states like England, Spain, France, and Russia that once explored our territory and left forts and other traces behind. Some are early attempts to link the land from which these people came to the new land they were living in, like appending green maple leaves to the flag of Britain. Others are attempts to picture how we see ourselves now, with symbols drawn more from our land than our traditions. First Nations used feathers, beads, other artwork, and symbols to identify and differentiate themselves, but as they entered treaties with later peoples, these were made into flags and banners. As we enter new relationships and adventures, new flags emerge and evolve, like friendship flags between peoples, countries, and organizations. Here one of our students is taking felts to arrange elements of the Kanata journey in new ways. For those unable to join us on out-of-town trips, our Chinook Center for Arts and Restorative Education, CCARE, will be offering programs on a variety of Kanata themes in stationary rail cars that used to run between Edmonton and Calgary. These coaches will be located on former Canadian Pacific right-of-way that helped turn a Hudson Bay Indigenous trading post and separate communities on two sides of the North Saskatchewan River into the single city that Edmonton is today. As Dorothy found her way back to Kansas in The Wizard of Oz, classroom students can find their way somewhere over the river back to the coming together of a Kanata village community on Turtle Island. Is there something about giving thanks that's specific to the Kanata context? Actually, it's central to who we are. Though Kanata is a constellation, not a single entity, we find this theme running through our parallel streams of experience, beginning with the many nations of our First Nations, as well as in explorers who came seeking a way around Turtle Island and others who later settled here. The Kanata constellation values connections over all else, connections to each other in our families, communities, between villages, and farther afield. For these links, we have a deep sense of gratitude that is greater than the grievances over imperfect institutions and flawed human leaders. This gratitude for life is our supreme gift to the human village.
Canada's connections at home and around the world. We're more than a map or mountain peaks and the maple leaf unfurled. We're the links that join together from sea to sea to sea.